It's a shame that we just go somewhere and we just show up to work. All we want to do is do our job. All we want to do, it's just, we're not into anything else. We're not coming here to step on anybody. We're just here to do our job. And then you have people who just want to do everything they can to prevent you from doing that, to prevent you from being happy because they're miserable. So it comes in a lot of forms. It comes in microaggressions and relational regressions. And sometimes people who have been in toxic situations for so long do not realize they distribute that toxic behavior.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to From the Script, a platform for my authors, my writers, my TV, film, and songwriters. I am so excited to be here with you all today. I am Armourie. I am your host. And baby, you already know, I already have a treat for you, okay? We are in season 2, and you know I'm coming with the heat, okay? So just a little tease of who I have in the building with me today. She is an author, she is a speaker, and she's a consultant, okay? So if you ever need anything, you know me, I have to hit her up. But please, without further ado, help me welcome the one and only Dr. PJ. How are you?
I am well. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yes, I'm glad to have you here as well because you are a gem. Okay, I was doing my research. I said, hold on, baby. We need her in the studio with us. So I'm so glad that you're here.
Yes.
Yes, let's give the viewers a taste of just who you are. Let us know where you're from, where you're originally from, and how did you even get started on this miraculous journey that you've been on?
Sure. So I'm originally from Omaha, Nebraska.
What?
So it was so crazy when I got here to Houston. I would say I'm from Nebraska, and they're like, what state is that in? I'm like, wait a minute now. So now it's to the point where I'm like, I'm from Omaha. And they're like, oh, Nebraska. So I'm like, oh, we made progress somehow. But yeah, so I moved here, escaping the cold.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, and so ironically, I love the heat. So I am down with the humidity, down with the heat here in Houston. So
we need more like you now, okay? Because I be struggling with this heat and the humidity. I be gasping for air.
Right. So I got here and went to school here, loved it. So I'm like, this is my second home. And honestly, my first home, I've been here so long now that home is kind of, I'm a stranger there, stranger in the house. But I got here and just really met some really nice people, worked some jobs, went through some experiences. And then I tell people I was cleaning out my house one time to get new carpet. And I found these folders, and the folders were documentation that I kept from a very toxic work environment. And so I decided to start and write that book. And so that's how we got here today. But really the writing thing just came, a professor told me, you should write a book. And I was like, on what? But I just really, she told me that. Then I met somebody that was just random. And they're like, you're going to be an author. And I was like, wow, okay. And then, you just be obedient and things started to roll out. And so that's how I got here.
That is pivotal, especially with you speaking about being obedient and really just walking in your purpose. Because like I mentioned earlier, man, your title had me at hello. And I just first want to say congratulations because I saw that it was a newly released book. And the title is It's Me, Not You, How to Survive Toxic Work Environments.
Yes.
Y'all, I'm telling y'all because I've been in some toxic work environments. And so for you to even put the pen to the paper to even write that book and be obedient, I mean, my mind is just blown. So expound on it even more if you don't mind.
Yeah, so the way that I got to the title is I was in a toxic work environment. And the crazy part is the work environment that triggered the book. When I started writing that book, I didn't realize I had been in other toxic work environments leading up to that one.
Ooh, that's deep.
Yes. And so in that current toxic work environment, so much was happening. And some of the things felt unreal. Like, people really act like this? Like, they don't have anything better to do than to harass people, all that type of stuff. Right. And so I realized at that point, what can I do to make it better? Because going back and forth with them wasn't working. And actually, I was losing because it wasn't me. It wasn't really who I was to go back and forth with people and to, to argue with them and to figure out, okay, how am I going to get them today? That just really wasn't me. And so I started saying, you know what? I can do something. I can control how I come into this situation and how I leave this situation. And so I just started saying, when they started acting up, I'm like, you know what? It's me, not you. And what I really meant by that was, it's me because I'm sane. I know better. You don't. So I have the accountability to discontinue this conversation and come back another day when you're ready to talk to me. So that's how the title came, because that was just my mantra. Oh, it's me, not you. They're acting up. And I would leave. And then when I found those folders, then I was like, this was a toxic work environment, put it together. And that's how I came with the book and the title.
Kudos to you for that. I'm serious, because just how you said, it's not you to just go back and forth with people, you know, because people unfortunately love confrontation.
They will take you there.
They will take you there, all the way there, up, under, and everywhere else.
Right.
Okay? I've been there before, and I had to really reel myself back to say, that's not me.
Right.
It's not me. So, wow, even how you spent that and just give yourself your own mantra and say, it's me, not you. And just, it makes me think about how the words that we speak over ourselves and how powerful and evident those are,
Yeah.
And so to hear you just speak that piece over yourself, I'm just glad to see that it helped you in the midst of that. Wow. I don't know if I'm gonna get too deep, but I always like to ask.
Okay.
Being in that toxic work environment, what was like an example of, and please let me know if you're not able to disclose that, because I'm always about, confidentiality.
Right.
But I just for the viewers who may be struggling in a toxic work environment and may not even be able to identify that they're in a toxic work environment, what could be those identifiers that someone is in that toxic work environment? So
one of the main indicators of a toxic work environment is one that is that doesn't have a culture that progresses, right? And to where it doesn't create an environment for you to progress as an individual. And so a lot of times that can come in various different forms. It can come in to where you are ostracized for some reason. It may not be the things that we are used to being ostracized for. It might not be our skin color. It might not be our gender, but it may be because, and I talk about this in the book, there's a term called pretty discrimination, where people feel that, oh, you look nice, and they treat you differently. And they begin to ostracize you, or they tell you, oh, you're not smart because the way that you look. And they make comments about the way that you look because you dress nice, or they perceive you as being pretty and not of substance. There can be other ways where there's been ways that people have been ostracized because they've gone to school and graduated, and other people there didn't. There's ways that, of course, the regular discrimination, racism, age discrimination, reverse age discrimination, bullying, of course. But just when you are in the environments and people could be nitpicking at you for no reason. And so you want to just kind of look at those different types of indicators that, wait a minute, is this really about us progressing? Is this really about the work that we're here to do? Or is this something else? And a lot of times that will bring some red flags to you and just begin to look at that behavior. And sometimes what people don't realize, you can be in an environment, the environment might be okay, but there might be just some toxic individuals there. But one thing is key. Look how the organization treats the actions of those toxic individuals. If they are feeding into that, then you know that you're in a toxic work environment. If there's parameters and boundaries and repercussions for that particular behavior, then you're probably not in a toxic work environment, because not every environment is going to be great. Not every environment is going to be toxic because of one or two individuals. But one thing you want to do is really realize, how is this organization handling it? Look at the policies of that organization. Is the organization following its own policies? If it's not, that's an indicator you're probably in a toxic work environment.
This episode of From the Script is brought to you by the Creators Guild HTX. Please be sure to tap in with them. They are the one-stop shop for podcasting, production, and so much more. If you are looking to book your next session, please visit theguildhtx.com and just tap in with them. You never know what visions you're able to bring to life with them. So let's get it. All I can say is, sis. Because now you got me thinking about ways that I've had individuals say things to me when I was working at my previous job. And even with just, like you said, those small remarks that are made. Like, for example, I was out at an event. I used to work. Let me not get in trouble. I used to work somewhere and I had to get coverage for an event. And I remember someone walking up to me, and sometimes when you're in production, you have to either be all black, have to be in some sort of uniformity. And I remember, this was years ago, by the way, so I hope nobody get any feelings, don't get any feelings, but this is years ago. And I remember being there, and I didn't have my camera on me because I was scouting the perimeter, because I was trying to connect with the people who I was told to interview with. And this gentleman came up to me and was like, "Who are you? Are you like the makeup and the hair lady?" And I kind of felt offended in that moment, but I kind of just brushed it off. But then when I think about it, like, that was a very inappropriate comment and racist comment, because why all of a sudden do you think I'm here doing somebody's hair and makeup? And my response was, actually, no, I'm here to get your interview, because it actually ended up being one of the company, the leading people for the company. And it just blew my mind to see how the moment I said, I'm here to get your interview, the whole dynamic and the conversation completely changed right before my eyes. And I was like, wow, this is what people go through that people don't even talk about. So the fact that you're putting this in a book, and the fact that even just you sharing those indicators, I feel like that would help someone out. So I'm saying kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah. It's a shame that we just go somewhere and we just show up to work. All we want to do is do our job. All we want to do, it's just, we're not into anything else. We're not coming here to step on anybody. We're just here to do our job. And then you have people who just want to do everything they can to prevent you from doing that, prevent you from being happy, because they're miserable. So it comes in a lot of forms. It comes in microaggressions and relational regressions. And sometimes people who have been in toxic situations for so long do not realize they distribute that toxic behavior. So they're thinking, this is just what I do. But like, no, that's not right. You can't treat people like that. And so the book kind of really touches on that. And the funny part is I was talking to a group about the book, and people started sharing their toxic work experiences or even toxic social experiences. And there was this one lady, and she kind of turned red. And so I was like, she's going through something, but not going to say anything right now. So she decided to share, and she was like, oh my God, I realized I was one of those toxic people. And she said, and I had already started my journey of apologizing to the people that I hurt, but I just thought I didn't like my behavior. So I was apologizing for my behavior. But when I listened to everybody share their stories, I didn't realize the impact my behavior had on them and how long lasting that is. And she said, I feel totally, totally bad, but now I know I don't do that anymore. But it was just her having that revelation that just because you say something to somebody and it's rude, you think, okay, let me apologize and it's over. But you never know the impact of your words and how they affect people for a long term. So that's what I really like about the book. And that's why I really feel that me just being obedient, because it really wasn't for me. it was for me to get those stories really out so that other people can see it and begin to heal from it.
I am in love with that. And I'm really just mind blown because even with you describing how she was able to recognize things about herself, that just shows as like two sides of a coin for your book. Not only is it helping people navigate toxic work environments, but it may be revealing to someone that they were toxic. And, you know, just like almost like showing them that mirror. So that's very, very, very pivotal. It's almost like somebody could pick up the book and not even realize that it's pulling out things about themselves.
Absolutely. It's a reflection. Yeah, definitely.
Y'all better get this book, okay? Y'all better get this book. Man. So my ears perked up when you mentioned pretty discrimination because I love that chapter title, like seriously. Is there a chapter in the book that you would have to either deem as your favorite or one that will ruffle some feathers in a sense, and why do you feel like either those two are pivotal?
I would say probably the second to last chapter it's called The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And I would say that one, I don't know if it's my favorite, but it brings the most emotion out of me. Because when I was writing that, I felt warm inside. I started feeling the emotions come back. And I was just like, ooh. And then as I went through the different folders and the emails, I was reliving what they did to me. And I was getting a little mad.
Back to memories.
Right. And I was like, but you got to get it out because you can't hold that. And sometimes we bury some of that emotion and then we don't know how it comes out in other ways. And so it was really good and therapeutic for me to get to that chapter and be able to write it and get it out to the point now I can laugh at it. You know, I can talk about it without feeling those same emotions because now that means I'm over it, right? It's not holding me hostage and taking my power for what they did. What they did with me was messed up, but look at what happened. We turned it into something great and it's helping other people. So that's probably one of my most endeared chapters because of what I went through. And that was probably the hardest one. And there's some other ones where I like them because it's funny. So the book has a lot of funny parts to it. You know, don't take it like too serious. You know, it was toxic, but, you know, we can laugh at it now. And so some of the things when I look back at, you know, I laugh about it. I see my sense of humor and I'm like, really, you put that in there. But yeah, that one's probably the most chapter that speaks volumes to me is a Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
I love that. You even brought up a great point of writing to using it as a form of that being therapeutic. How important is it for people to really, really, really write how they're feeling?
Oh my gosh, it's so important. And even if writing is not your thing, however you express, that's where the arts come in, right? Some people, they may spend time in the mirror reenacting that conversation to get it out, like I should have said this, you know, and then other people it may be actually drawing or, you know, and others it might be writing. For me, it's writing. It's like, let me get this out. And not necessarily everybody has to write a book, but maybe you write a letter to get this out. Maybe you just write in your journal to get it out, but you have to get it out. You just can't keep it inside because what it does, it will show up in other situations and you might not recognize it. And you're like, what? Man, why was I snappy that day? But sometimes when you hold that stuff in there, it affects how you behave, and you never want to be them, right? You don't want to join them. You know that saying, if you can't beat them, join them. You never want to join the toxic group. So make sure that you are able to identify it and identify those emotions and get it out some way that's unique to you.
That's powerful. That is powerful because I love writing. I love journaling, and I do find that it's very, very therapeutic. And I love coloring too.
Yeah.
So I'm telling y'all, I don't know why I'm just urging people to lock in with this book, because if I'm learning as much as I'm learning just from sitting down and having this conversation with you, I can just imagine the wealth of knowledge that I'm going to receive from the book. So that's very pivotal. I'm curious, what is your writing style like?
Oh, gosh.
Even the process, like, what puts you in your zone?
So I love history. And so before I begin to write, I will read history. So I like learning about people and people's stories. And so I will pick an author or some type of figure, and I would read their autobiography. And when I read their autobiography, I'm like, okay, I'm zoned, I'm set. I like to have the TV on. I like to watch TV while I'm typing. Sometimes I'll sit in my office and maybe I'll still have the TV on, but it's just a book and I'm writing things down. I'm still kind of old school a little bit, where I have to, I got all these little notebooks and stuff that, you know, they have at little fairs. I'm like, let me grab this so I can write. But that's typically my process, is I have to read. I have to have the house clean. Like, the house has to be totally clean, smelling nice, read the autobiography or the biography about someone else, and then I just sit there and then just starts to come out. And I just start writing in outlines. And then sometimes with those little notebooks, I might have a chapter here, boom, have a chapter in another one. And then when I go some places, sometimes, you know, get the braids done, you got extra time, I might take that and then pick up where I left off. Like, oh, I put this outline, let me start writing here.
That's beautiful. That's really, really beautiful. Especially, you said you have to have everything clean, okay? Cleanliness is next to godliness.
Right?
That's what somebody told me. So that is, I love that. Now, look, I'm taking some pointers for myself so that way I can really set the tone. Because sometimes when it comes to writing, if you're not in the right environment, or even if you don't feel right, it doesn't produce what we want it to produce. So that's something very pivotal for me to keep in mind. And you also mentioned that you like to do your research and look up other authors and things of that nature. Do you have a favorite author that you would lean on or say?
I don't. What I really love is just, I feel, I'm gonna try not to go too left on this, but
I'm vanilla, baby. I'll choke you, but I ain't no killer, baby. She 28, telling me I'm still a baby. I get love in Detroit.
I feel that a lot of times in media we are fed things, right? And so I like to go to old books and read, what did they say in 1934? What did they say in 1960? And then I get a better understanding of someone. So for instance, I love like Carter G. Woodson. I will read The Miseducation of the Negro several times because I'm like, there's so much in here. Unfortunately, it's still happening, but there's so much in here. And because I'm able to read his words, I'm able to understand him and then put kind of in perspective how he felt in the time that was around it. And so, and I will do that. A lot of times I will pick an author for the year. And so I will read all of their books for that year to better understand who they are for myself and not kind of like the image that they are portrayed, you know, in the media. And a lot of times that, and when I read it, if they have YouTube videos, I'm looking at their YouTube videos. I'm looking at their speeches. I'm really just immersing myself in that person. And then that really helps me to fully like understand people. And that's what gives me the clarity to write my own, because those creative juices begin to come out, because it's like, okay, I'm understanding. Now I'm in tune with the thoughts and the images that are in my head, and I'm trying to get them out in the feelings that are coming through. So.
That's deep. That's really, really deep. I have a friend who's a historian who loves doing research as well. And the wealth of knowledge that he shares with me, I'm like, this happened? I didn't even know about all of the different things. And so this past year, I've been doing a lot of relearning, even just like how you mentioned, just about us and our culture. And it really, really blows my mind. And I see how it just opens up our eyes to a new perspective. And it just helps us overall with our creativity. So that's really, really, really deep. Ooh,
Yeah.
I have to sit with myself for a second to think about a lot of different things.
Yeah. And then also with the research, because I got a doctorate, they make you.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that.
That's part of, getting it is you have to do a lot of research. You have to be able to know who said what in their area of expertise. And then what that has kind of contributed to me is to not always take things for face value. Go and research it and make sure, because somebody could say the sky is purple. Well, 10 people might say the sky is purple. Then you might find out that 111 said it wasn't. But everybody's focusing on the 10 people that said it. So really just do your research to really find out what's really going on. So that's just become kind of innate with me now, that I just automatically, let me go do my research, let me figure it out so I can get my own understanding for something.
I love that. And I hate to keep harping on this particular situation, but it's really refreshing to hear that you do your research and you really find out things for yourself because of what the media portrays. And unfortunately, a lot of like our culture, even like my generation and even younger, they do not take the time to read. They don't take the time to research. And like you said, they'll take the word from 10 people versus what the masses may be saying, or, and it's just, it's unfortunate because this is the time that we're living in. Yeah. And I really hope that this encourages people to really pick up a book and read, study yourself to show proof, and it's just really, really different, which is why I'm glad that, this platform is even here so I can help, just even provide people with opportunities to share not only their story, but to encourage people to read. Reading books are not, how do I say it? I don't know, how cameras, older cameras, you can't use anymore.
Right.
That's not how books are.
Right.
Books
it's not obsolete.
They're not obsolete. Thank you. Speaking of books, we have another one that you've written called Pursuing Legacy.
Yes.
Give us the details about that, please, because I'm telling you, I'm trying to pursue some legacy.
So Pursuing Legacy is my first book, and that was really based off my dissertation, in where I reviewed or interviewed 7 different families. 6 are in the book. And really my whole thing was I had made a milestone in life, and I was just like, I'm happy about it, but what am I really doing? What's really my purpose, and why am I really here? And it's got to be more than just what I've been doing. And so then I was like, what is going to be my legacy? So then when I got to school and I said, I'm going to really explore that idea. And I've always been infatuated with businesses and how the length of them, how do they last so long? Why do people make the career decisions that they make? And so I interviewed these families that were family businesses. Some of them were at that time 100 years old as far as businesses or intergenerational careers. What makes you want to follow in the footsteps of someone else? In your family, what makes you want to contribute to this business? Why does this business continue to, go on and on for generations? And so what the book really tells is it looks at their story of why, and then I break down why they are in the position that they're in, and then give tips on how you can begin to start and build your legacy. And so what I really found, which was alarming, and is when people are younger, the familiar environment is what shapes a lot. And at a certain age, especially around, I would say maybe around the junior high age, you begin to, and sometimes a little bit earlier, you begin to determine whether or not what you can and cannot be based off of what you see around you. And so unfortunately, most people succumb to what they see if it's a bad situation. So for instance, one of the folks I interviewed, and he was successful in media, and he talked about when he was sent off to college and his parents wanted him to be a lawyer or a doctor. And he said, I get to college, how can I be a lawyer and a doctor? Because when I was going to school, I didn't know science. How am I be a doctor and I don't know science, because the teachers that was teaching us science didn't know it themselves. So how am I going to be that? I didn't see lawyers, so what is actually being a lawyer? So he went back to how the people, when he was growing up, the people that he kind of admired, and he patterned himself after them, and that's how he chose his specific career decisions. And so that's kind of how a lot of us get to our career decisions. We determine, like, can I be this? If I don't see this, then how can I be it? So, and it's just, we have to even be cognizant of what we portray and make sure that that imagery that kids are seeing, that they're able to go outside their community and see others if, you know, if their community is limited. And so that's what the book is about, is just looking at how do you build your legacy, how do you start it, and how you maintain it so that it lives beyond you when you're no longer here.
If I can't see it, how can I be it?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, Dr. PJ is dropping gems. I am so serious. Like, you are really dropping gems. Like, this is so pivotal and a wealth of information that people need to hear. Seriously, especially on expounding on legacy. You know, what is it that you want to leave here on this earth when you are gone? You know, so if there was one chapter in that book, what would it be?
There's a chapter on a particular family, and it's that chapter because it's a hair beauty supply family. And the reason that one sticks out to me the most is because it went for 100 generations. Not 100 generations, but 100 years. It's over 100 years old. And it gives you, it starts back from slavery and how the catalyst of the legacy was a woman. Yay!
Hey, yeah. Shout out to the women in the house.
And how she would go on horse and buggy to different plantations doing people's hair. And to see it come and thrive from that to present time, where there's a hair school that they do, where they have products and everything. And then what it shows, that it just wasn't her child, but it was her child's husband. And then it was like nieces and nephews. So it wasn't like father and son, grandson, like most people will typically think, but it can go cousins, and all can be involved. It's just, how do they connect with that sense of belonging that's there? And so that's why that one just really sticks out to me the most, because it ties back into that, because the family stuck with what was there and what they grew up around and what they knew. And they share a lot of life lessons in the story that they're telling, and how they became who they became and continue to thrive and grow the business.
You mentioned something that made me want to pivot back to working in toxic environments. You mentioned we find ourselves working in environments that will find us working in places where they were never meant for us. So I'm curious if that is one of the roots to why there are toxic environments.
That's a good point. That is a very good point. That could be. Absolutely.
I was just thinking about that.
Absolutely. Sometimes we're places where we're not supposed to be.
Yeah, and it's like we're unwanted.
Yeah. Chasing dreams that are not ours.
Yes.
Or that are fed to us.
To go get.
Instead of staying true to where our talent is, where our network is, where our support and our natural knowledge is, trying to fit into another dream where it's not set up for us to win.
And it's a real thing.
Real thing.
It's a real thing. I feel like how you were saying whenever you were writing that chapter, you were in the how to survive toxic environments, work environments, you were feeling those emotions.
Yeah.
And I'm ironically feeling those emotions right now. And it's bringing back memory to when I was in an environment that I don't believe was set for me when I first got out of college, and I was operating as a social media manager somewhere. And I just felt so disconnected with everyone there. I was the only African-American woman in the office. I was surrounded by a lot of Hispanics, and I know a little bit of Spanish. You know, I may know, hola, ¿cómo estás? A little something. I don't know, but I'm not proficient in that.
Right.
And so it doesn't take me to have to be proficient in a language to know the difference in the tone when someone responds to me, or even they say hi. I could be walking in the office and I'm like, hey, saying hey to everybody.
Yeah.
And I hear them saying hey to other people, and then when it comes to me, hey, they give me a dry hey, or it's just so weird. So I'm just even thinking about how toxic that work environment was that I didn't even think that it was work.
Ostracism coming in.
That's crazy.
And some aggression too. Yeah.
Baby, they be hating.
Yes, they do.
Man, what are some of the challenges that, as a writer, what are some of the challenges that you face?
Oh, some of the challenges that I face is ideas hitting, and I don't write it down right then and there. And I'm like, I'm going to remember it, and my whole family knows I don't even remember it, nothing. So I'm like, I'm going to remember it. And then like an hour or so later, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to write it down. And it's totally gone. And I was like, oh man, it was so good. So that just not being obedient to the gift. When it's hitting, write it down. So that's one of the challenges. And another challenge is just finding that mood and waiting for that opportunity to come to really just be in that zone to write. And then I would say on the final end is that sometimes when you write and you may have something like really good for people, but sometimes people don't want it. And so, what do you do? But you got to stay true to yourself, because if you were supposed to write it, then you just write it. Don't worry about the amount of people that may want it. Don't worry about the rejection that might come with it. You just follow what you're supposed to do. And even if it was just meant to help that one person, then you've done what you were supposed to do. And that one person was helped, because you never know the state of somebody. So you just got to be obedient to your gift and what you're supposed to do, and everything will work out.
I just wanted to snap right there, because that was just so melodic, and I'm learning a lot just in this sit down. Like, I'm really over here just like, wow. Even how I even responded to people, and even just with me understanding the element of positioning myself in the right environments to create those legacy moments and to really leave what needs to be left behind. What are 3 things that you would like people to remember you by when it comes to legacy?
Ooh, I would say 1 is that I genuinely cared for people. 2 is that whatever I wanted to do, I did it. And 3, I don't know. I would say maybe that I just was obedient to the calling. Eventually, but I got there. But I was obedient to the calling.
That sound like the title to your next book to me. Obedient to the calling. Oh my goodness, that's pivotal. Like, I was trying to say power and pivotal at the same time. Wow, I'm learning so much. Okay, we're gonna take a little shift.
Okay,
we're gonna shift gears a little bit.
Okay,
and we're gonna play a game called Underrated or Overrated.
Okay,
and it's where I'll toss out random categories, and you have to let me know if it's either underrated or overrated and your reasoning why.
Okay. Ready.
Last season I had a time limit on it, but I was looking back like I was like 7 seconds, and then I found myself going deep into conversations. So I was like, scrub the time. So the first one is spending time with the community.
Oh, it's very underrated. Very underrated. I think as human beings, we're created to be in community with other people. And when we are isolated, that's when problems begin to arise. That's when these thoughts in our head that are sometimes are not so good begin to take over. And so being in community will help you to, like we talked about earlier, get those stories out, but it's also that support. And it's just also, just really, just really seeing what God created and appreciating the different personalities and the looks of people and the fun that you can have. So I'd say underrated.
I agree 100%. The next one is journaling.
Ooh, it's underrated.
Yep.
Most people should journal, get those ideas out. You never know. I mean, we get so many ideas. Even if you're not a creative person, you still get ideas. And sometimes when you journal it, you can hold yourself accountable and you can say, you know what, that is good. Let me expound upon that. Let me do that. Let me remind me of something that I need to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And even if somebody who isn't a writer,
Yeah.
Baby, put them notes on your phone, okay?
Yeah.
Journal somewhere.
Something. Even if it's just sticky notes.
Yes, I
And
love
put on your
sticky
mirror
notes.
to remind you, yeah, I'm good today.
Right?
I'm a rock today.
I know that's right.
Yeah. Encourage yourself.
I know that's right. Speaking of encouraging yourself, self-care is the next one.
It's underrated. All these are underrated.
Yeah.
We really need to take care of ourselves. Definitely, especially, I always think about when you're on the airplane, put that mask on before you put the mask on somebody else. And I think a lot of times we are overworked and we don't just take the time to just really appreciate life and the beauty that there is and just spending time, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes with somebody, having coffee with somebody, or, I'm an animal lover. I like to sit and just watch animals in their own, environment and how they interact. So, but yeah.
I am too. I love animals. I have to say that. Yes. I love animals. Like, I could be on Instagram. I could be scrolling. I could see puppies, birds.
I watch the videos over. I'm like, did I just spend 3 hours looking at these clips?
It's a thing. It is a thing. And it's just amazing to see how God created all of these different animals.
Yes.
I mean,
they're so,
mind-blowing.
again, they're obedient to what he created. They're not trying to be anything else. They're just being them, you know? And
wow.
They're still fed. They're still taken care of no matter what.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And
they give us unconditional love.
They do.
Yeah.
And they're so intelligent. They're so
Yeah.
intelligent. They're smart.
Yeah.
They're smart. Yeah. Okay. Look, 'cause I'll go on all day about animals. The last one is the news.
Overrated. Overrated. I just don't know half the time what they're talking about. Like,
saying.
and I don't even think they do. It's just they're just saying things because they want people to feel a certain way, or it's just there's got to be other things going on besides what you're talking about today. So yeah, definitely overrated.
I'm in agreement with that too.
Yeah.
You just gotta, going back to what you said earlier, gotta do the research for yourself.
Exactly. Because it becomes depressing watching the news.
I'm saying, I've been like telling my dad, turn the news. You ain't gotta watch CNN all day long.
Right.
Shout out to you, Daddy. I love you. Okay, but I mean, change the channel.
Right.
Put from the script on. Put from the script on or something else. Man. Okay, so that you killed it with underrated or overrated. That was. I'm in agreement with everyone. That is crazy. Speaking of community, I have to give you your flowers because you were the award winner for the 2024 Woman of the Year Award. Tell us about that. That was the Luna Awards. Please help us. How were you feeling? Give us all the deets.
Oh my God. So it was one of those, typically, awards, you already know you're arriving to accept an award. This one you didn't know. You just know that you were nominated. And so brought my mama out, come on, Mom, let's go. Didn't really think that I was, going to win. I just knew that the work that I've done as far as small businesses, I know the work speaks for itself. And I did that because I love small businesses. I love helping them. I understand from pursuing legacy, I understand the impact that it makes on the community, on generations, on nations. And so to sit there and you hear your name and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's me. let me go up here and get this award, and to be nominated with a lot of other people that I worked with, and I know the work that they've done, and they are genuine with it, and they really deserve it as well. And so that was just, I don't even know the words to describe it, but when you know that you're just doing what you're supposed to do, you're doing what you love, and people recognize it, because a lot of times we do things, you're like, people don't realize, what I'm doing, but that's okay. I'm going to keep on going. But to know that people recognize it, and then not only do they recognize it, people are like, you deserved it. And it was just amazing. So I really appreciate Luna. And the irony of it is when Luna first came to Houston, I was on the committee. I still have the certificate that they gave me of participating on the committee. So it was like a full circle moment that like 5 years earlier before I got it, I was on the committee just that one time. And then to come and actually get the Woman of the Year award was just amazing. So it was definitely a highlight of my year.
I love that. Mm-hmm. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Having that moment. I bet it was good just even accepting your award. That's pivotal.
I didn't have my mom there because,
that's the icing on the cake.
Yeah, because I'm like, I do my thing, Mom, you go over here. But to have her there and then to see people are like, oh, that's Dr. PJ's mom. And to see them really just embrace her like, oh, we love you. I'm like, they don't even know my mom, but she is very, very lovable. But yeah, just to have her there and to see that, and I can tell that she was proud. So it's always good when you know that your parents are proud of you. So yeah.
Don't have me open up another can of worms, because that is pivotal, to know that your parents are proud of you and to include them in. Like, I try my hardest to do that with my parents as well, and you can see the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way that they receive it.
Yeah,
so I'm right there with you. I love my parents. Yeah. Ooh, wow. So what's next for you? Any other books coming down the line? Are there any other events?
We got some things coming up. So definitely we'll be working on some other book projects, probably in another couple years. Really going to take It's Me, Not You and bring it into an experience for everybody. So that should be, hopefully we'll be able to get it out the way we want to mid to late year. But definitely we want everybody to experience the It's Me, Not You, how to detox. And so we got some really great things, creative things lined up that we want to bring that to people and just really continue that journey of self-reflection and healing. And then also I'm going to hopefully this month get it out. So anybody who's looking to write a book, who just wants to journal, who wants time to read, just set aside some reading hours, and we're going to do that together. So look out for that. I'll be posting that soon on LinkedIn. So if you just want to, hey, I want to write a book, but I don't have the time to write. I want to journal. I just can't get the time to do it or to read. We're going to set some time together. We're going to do that, together. So
I love that. Count me in, please. Okay. Count me in.
Yes.
And I would love to support you in your future endeavors, however I can do anything. Just let me know. I can share it on our page. I can promote however it is. Just let me know. I'm here to support, because I love hubs of writers. I love communities of writers and authors. And so it's teamwork makes the dream work. And I'm here to support everything that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Cool. Is there anything else you would like to leave the viewers with? Any advice or just anything that you felt led to share on your heart?
Oh, I would just say, you know what? I take this as the year of accountability. Be accountable for your actions and how you show up into spaces. I know we are all going through a lot at different times, and sometimes you may be in environments that are toxic, that are not healthy, but remember to take your accountability for how you can change that situation, even if it means that you have to remove yourself from that situation. What you don't want to do is succumb to it. So take accountability. Remember the philosophy, it's me, not you. So when it starts getting a little crazy, you know what? It's me, not you. I know better. I know that I can remove myself from the situation and not engage with it. And just really let this be the time where you begin to seek your purpose if you don't know your purpose. If you do know your purpose, operate in your purpose and do not stray away from it, so that you can get what is deserved of you and you can start living your life, because you never know who's out there who needs what you have and they're waiting on you to get it. There are people that are assigned to each of our lives. We're not going to know necessarily who they are, but what we got to do is to know our purpose, operate in our purpose. So if we're just doing what we're supposed to do, those people are getting what they need. So don't let them down.
I love that. Look, I love don't let them down, y'all. You're amazing.
Oh,
I just have to say you are amazing. It's truly a pleasure to sit down and just be in your presence. So I appreciate you.
I've had a great time. I love your energy.
Yes. Please let everybody know where they can connect with you, whatever social medias you would like to share with them. And of course, where can they get this amazing book?
Yes, so you can get It's Me Not You, How I Survived Toxic Work Environments on Amazon.com. You can just put in It's Me Not You and my name, Portia Jackson, and it will pop right on up. You can also go to my website, which is drpj.online. The book will be there, plus any way to contact me. I love LinkedIn the most, so you can always connect with me on LinkedIn just by putting my name. My handle is PJ_PhD. On Instagram, I'm there as well as PJ_PhD. And then I play sometimes in Facebook, but LinkedIn and Instagram, that's where I'm at. And then I'm getting on YouTube now. So with Dr. PJ Online is my handle.
Because period, y'all heard it first. Dr. PJ Online is her handle, okay? That has been a wrap for From the Script. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate y'all. Please be sure to stream From the Script on all digital platforms that's listed below. And don't forget to be bold, don't fold, and come through the fire as go. We out.
Yes.
Ooh.